Welcome. I'm Barbara Kite, the director of this evening's entertainment, and I am delighted and thrilled to be able to share with you the poetry of Victoria Sullivan, as well as some of my favorite love songs. After the poetry section, Miss Sullivan will be taking questions. There'll be a short intermission, and then there will be a cabaret style of singing songs. Miss Sullivan's poetry is available for sale, and I will ask you kindly if you could turn off any pagers or phones you might have. It's a courtesy to the actors. Thank you, and enjoy.
Since everything changes every second, I must hang on to nothing. Caught in the flow that feels like stillness, caught in the dance of love for a dying man, how can I not cling to this husband body even as his so familiar flesh ebbs from his bones? Letting go is like breathing out, the lungs collapsing. When I kiss him, he lies very still. He has grown so fond of sleeping. Even the clouds that don't seem to be moving are. Each day, he journeys closer to death. He dreams he's tied down, can't get up. He's paralyzed. He asked if he cried out for me, but all I heard was an inarticulate moan, never my name. I waken when I hear the nightmare moan. Even in dreams, I don't want him to suffer. Would that his passage were like birds, smoothly flying their long journeys home. Your husband dies, you hate couples. The casual way they hold hands when they walk, the way he holds a car door open, or the smile on her lips as he talks, or even the way she chides him for not ordering her food when after 30 years he should certainly know what she likes to eat. You want someone on an airplane to turn to at liftoff, that thrilling rush down the runway, even if he's already asleep. And men are great sleepers, greater by far than women. And someone to complain to about the pompous fools at school, or the lost glove, or the unfair parking ticket. Aggravation shared is grief relieved. You remember how you would order an Indian food after a long day at work? Leisurely twilight lovemaking, and a brief early evening nap. And those moments, eating the succulent curry with delighted murmurs at the glass table in the living room, glow in memory like a lamp lit on the density of ordinary love. Oh, for the mercy of mercy. The beach trips we didn't take. The husband dead so he can no longer gaze at me with looks of love. The saddest words, the ones unsaid. My father's brain scrambled like television static for his final Alzheimer decade, but he would look at me with poignant looks of love, reaching out once to touch my face and say, "You are so beautiful." A whole sentence blown free of neuron damage. A shock. A gift. He found me beautiful. But my husband would say nothing. Drained in his pain and despair, gripped so tight in the grasp of death for nearly a year. I waited for the flow that never came, fed him, read to him, brought fluid and pills, paid nurses and bills, felt unloved, abandoned in the face of certain death. How to crawl out of this rock-strewn canyon where I hate the ceaseless lava flow of rage. Shall we say, I am the trodden earth that seeks the rain, the dead flowers, brown leaves? Shall I tell you the truth? I loved the air he breathed. It is the nature of blood. That man whose mouth so gently kisses your breast, free and fragile on a warm May day, displaces the so sweet dream of the dead husband, swimming beneath 1,000 seas, ashes in a blue jar, pianist to the stars. The new feeling is the breath of spring, like freshly hatched birds in the nest. Return of juices to the flesh. Shared bath in juniper oils, red wine, sesame seed bread. How can a real hand and tongue and leg not best a memory? It is the nature of life to seek life. Laughter, the elixir, touch, the satisfaction. And perhaps, it's not so much displacement as continuation. Isn't life, after all, simply eating olives by the fish pond while the red-breasted grosbeak wings wildly round the feeder? When your vision clears, everything you see is brighter, crisper, vibrating with life. Even rocks vibrate. It's not that you see more than before. It's that you see differently, although you may see more as well. Things your eyes just used to pass over nonchalantly without seeing. Sticks in a pot, poor people with sad feet, small, pale plants, wispy clouds, things of little consequence. Just as you might not hear the background music when busy with gossip or chatter, so too you might just miss the stunning beauty crying out from all directions. And you might not give love to those who need your love, and you might not recognize those who are sending you love. Sometimes you have to listen for the bird song, only to realize it is all around you. You are drowning in bird song, and only your ears are deaf. It's like stunted blind people wandering in murky caves. One day we wake up, breathe deeply, and discover how sweetly the universe tends us. Then, like honey on the tongue, everything tastes delicious.
have returned from the wasteland. Your body has been beckoning me. I stand by your bed in my underwear. To pull me down, you reach up, your hand just touching my breast. Even your eyes are smiling. I have returned from the wasteland where I was alone and could not understand where love had flown and why I was so cold. You give me sweet port. It dribbles down my chin. Your body has been beckoning me, and I long to touch the back of your neck, and if I may, sniff your hair. Your hair was the first part of you I touched, New Year's Eve. And at the small party, you sat by me on the couch. I stand by your bed in my underwear, just as I had imagined I would during the cold winter months when I waited for you to make your move, and you waited for me to make mine. Was it the Valentine I sent and didn't sign? You like guessing games. You reach up to pull me down now so regularly, I almost forget the months of early spring, while I wondered if you wanted me or just a dinner companion. You could kiss in that intimate way with your tongue slipping around in my mouth like a trout in a stream. Your hand just touches my breast so easily, but back then I waited until the May day when suddenly you went everywhere. Your hand, your tongue, your taste, and our bodies became moon bodies, alive and bright, the kind druids worship, smiling and smiling, both of us. The next day, I was still aghast with glee. Was it the Valentine? I have returned from the wasteland. Your dear body has beckoned me home. Shall I talk about the bath? It was early evening, a rainy day. We had been driving in the rain. He ran the tub, put in pine oil, bath salts, and lit a tall blue candle. He said he'd cook while I bathed, but as my clothes fell to the floor and he stood behind me, his body against mine, he decided to take the bath with me. Imagine a porcelain tub with smooth, round sides and a large, low window next to it, looking out on hills and trees. Imagine also the Buddha head, large and benevolent on the wide windowsill. I climb in first, he follows, and soon we are all entangled in the hot water, in the odor of pine needles, in body against body, everything wet and ripe and open. We are swimming again in the womb, I think. We are going backward to a paradisial place. We don't talk, we croon. It's not about language, but touch and gliding like slippery seals in a liquid world where nothing is forbidden. Adam and Eve before the fall. But we are us too, modern people, slipping loose from civilization's overly cerebral harness into that pleasurable, moist music of bodies. It is morning, full light streaming through the skylights, and you decide to make love, lifting first my shirt to expose breasts. Suddenly I'm shy, a little embarrassed in this full light. I move to escape you, but you pull me back, pulling at pajama bottoms. No, I say softly, laughing a little and bury my head in a pillow. You sense this isn't going to be easy, and usually I am more than willing. But you're sly today. You reach for your sleep mask and slip it gently over my eyes. Immediately I let go. Some voice in me says, yes, relax. It isn't even you here on this bed. You start to stroke my body with a silken flag belonging to the Buenos Aires Yacht Club. You are gentle, relaxed. I feel the silk like fluttering bird wings on legs, buttocks, back, belly, breasts. I am drifting into another world, dark and private, where there is nothing I can do, nor wish to. You take your time, and I am what you claim to be, putty in your hands. You can do anything, touch me anywhere. But when I reach out to touch you in my blind state, you say, no, you cannot use your hands. No, you cannot touch. And I am left to be your object of desire, your captive, and I like it. I grow more desirous of you now that I can't touch you. You are all I want. I think I'll touch you with my moist mouth, and as I struggle towards you, mouth opens, suddenly you are there, warm member pressed to my lips, and how hungry and thirsty I am. Blindly I suck, but do not touch you with my hands. I am drinking you and slaking my thirst. Then you move about and enter me with hard thrusting drives. The blind woman, the captive, whose blindness becomes the midnight sky alive with stars, each thrust the Milky Way exploding. You've flown the coop, burst forth like a bird in the sky, wings flapping wildly south toward Buenos Aires. I lie in a cold bed on a windy night, picturing your flight. And only last night I lay by your side, nose in your neck, hand on your back. Will you come home again? The sea around the Horn is treacherous. Sailors' bones litter the ocean floor. The waves can be 40 feet high. If you die, you said, I get a Tibetan rug. But no Tibetan rug, not red nor blue, can hold me as you do, with your mouth making swooping gestures down my belly or up my thigh. If you die, I will lie in my cold bed and curse the gods of love. If you die, I won't understand why you had to go and what it means to be a man. So back you'll come, because you sense I need your mouth upon my belly and your blue eyes laughing over wine and delicious duck in elegant restaurants. I need to walk with you and talk with you, look at splendid art with you. When I light incense, I will pray to Proteus, god of the sea, send my man back to me. Then, like a bird, you'll fly the return route, loaded with tall tales of the terrifying sea, the wondrous waves, the swooping cormorants. And I'll nestle down by your side, your sweet home bird, smiling, contented, drinking ruby port, while knowing that all good things end, but not you, yet. Just as the mountain hovers over my little house in the woods, your love protects me from harsh winter winds. I awake, husky-voiced, to the sound of yours on the phone. You tell me you couldn't sleep and that you want to wrap your arms and legs around me. To hear your eager voice while I am still dream-heavy makes me smile. I pretend that I was dreaming of other men, but actually I don't know where I was in that other deeper land. You were at the opera with your old lover, and you tell me this so casually. She's part of the opera gang, you say. I picture her by your side in the drinks line. The voice of wisdom rises up in me. Let it be, you cannot own this man. Let it be. I am learning new ways of loving. Just as my children have grown up and departed into their own lives and I am still their mother, so I am your lover, even alone in bed at the foot of the mountain where the blue sky paints the view out my bedroom window. Even alone at the foot of the mountain where the blue sky paints the view out my bedroom window. And you are only 26 miles away, cataloging drawings, planning to drive by and pick me up later, planning to kiss my body everywhere, or so you say.
Every day, I say a little prayer. I'm going to be okay. Besides, hearts were made to be broken. This is a lesson of risk and love. I remember after we made love the first time, you ran me a bath with juniper oil. And after you climbed out and I stayed in, you sat on the floor beside the tub and held my hand because you didn't want me to feel alone. I think that's when my heart first started breaking. Thanks for breaking my heart. It's so good for my poetry. Of course, I feel like a truck ran over me. And other than that, I feel dead and stupid. Words come out wrong. Gone. You're gone. Even though you said that awful thing, we'll still be friends. How can I be friends with the man whose hands and mouth I need all over me? You want me to understand you didn't mean to fall for her. It just happened, a surprise. And something you read in her eyes makes you think this could be like nothing you've ever known before. You, who took pride in being my muse, have pulled up the stakes of your tent and planted it in another land. You want me to understand, but I don't, can't, won't. All I feel is dead, and pain like a molten river runs everywhere. You're sorry I hurt. Well, I'm sorry you fell out of love. Or is it that you never really fell into that great, rich green chasm of life and bliss where loving you drove me? just as I birthed my husband into death 5 years ago, I must birth myself back into life after this latest heartbreak. God damn, I want to say, this hurts. Is it good or bad that it's spring? Good, because the days are longer, the sky's bluer, and blossoms are gently opening on the trees. Bad, and that I'll see those lovers on the streets and in the parks kissing and holding hands and groping at each other in that private delight that he and I so richly shared. Lovers are like wealthy potentates, full of their own power, basking in the sunlight of their bliss, touching, holding, breathing deep the perfume of their bliss. I remember once talking to my daughter by phone after a night of love, and she said, "How are you?" "Good," I said. And then realizing that was far too stingy a word, I burst out, "Great! I feel great!" laughing in joy to realize it was true. And when I walked down the streets, other men smiled at me, sensing my secret joy. Now, all I feel is thick and dry, something tossed aside. Less than I was. No sleep at night. No appetite. My broken heart descends into my guts, spewing acid like an angry child. I cry on the phone with friends, and I'm a full-grown woman. Do people understand how love can brush your life with light at any age? I'd really rather write the poems about the birds singing as we had our morning coffee, he and I. Perfect blue mugs in his perfect snug house. But that's the place my heart was broken. It isn't mine to go there anymore. No more naked showers on the back patio at the foot of the mountain. No more baths together, rubbing his shoulders with soap and then my hand going anywhere, just as his slippery fingers like fish found all my hungry places. Stop! Let the movie stop. Rewrite the script. It isn't going to happen anymore. Call in those singing birds. Throw ashes on the ground. It's time to mourn. It isn't like I haven't practiced that. It's pissing me off that my heart is broken because it took so long to bring it back to life in the first place after my husband died his horrible death. I mean, why couldn't I have a happy few years? Oh, woe is me. Oh, Oedipus. Shaking my fists at the cruel heavens. This makes me mad, too. It's so outre, so immature. And actually, having a broken heart even is age inappropriate for me. Mature woman. Though my husband did die young, relatively. I am all mixed up and crying again. Almost every day I cry now. And it's been over a month. I have granddaughters, little beauties. This crying is absurd. But here's the thing. When he told me he'd given his heart away, mine broke. It was a physical blow. Suddenness, perhaps. You should have slid more slowly into that devastation. So here I am, of an age to be wise. And I'm foolish. I'm missing my husband, soon to be dead 5 years. I need male arms around me. And instead, I'm sleeping alone. He, the culprit, the cruel one, thinks I'm overreacting. Well, it isn't his heart that is broken. So what does he know in his blithe new love? Nothing. as I kick the leaves in my walk in the park, I say in my heart, I'm kicking him away. But how many, many leaves there are in the park, and how many, many nights I may lie alone. It is pissing me off. Do you want me to say, of course I love you still, and it doesn't hurt? Would that make you blithe? Oh, and you are blithe. You were always blithe. Or should I say, go into her arms. I send you out upon the ultimate sailing voyage, while I am here on the shore, waving and throwing kisses. No, it is not like that. Sulfur, dark, hard, black, sits in my chest, gnawing on my heart. It is all gristle. There are no birds singing in my head. Only pain like ocean waves hitting the shore again and then still again. And I'm waving at my dream of love as it sinks in the setting sun on the horizon. I'm waving at myself, not you. Waving to keep from drowning, waving to feel something, anything. Do you understand what pain is? I'm not going to send you this poem. This one sits inside that dark place in me, where I will bury also your false words, your cheating heart. I will build a bonfire in my heart, and I will burn you to a cinder, and I will dance around the ashes with my witch's hat on my head and my bitch's smile on my face, and I will roar with the flames. Burn him out of me, goddess of love. Burn every cell of desire out of my flesh, and let me live a monument of loss and rage and hurt, knowing I loved not wisely, but too well.
Against his like a rock against a door. Outside, the wind howls, and the winter wolf approaches through the woods. I don't ever want to leave this bed. I don't ever want to leave him.
We pay a price for every piece of knowledge, bad or nice. We pay a price. I hear the man I loved who left me might be getting married. I am not so innocent and trusting as I was when we would bathe together in his bathroom, decorated with paintings and Buddha, bathe in the oil of lavender, lathering each other's naked skin. I am tougher now, lying awake at night, where the snow surrounds my house, the pale silver moon glowing like a voyeur in my window. What did I learn from yielding my body up to him, my tender gift? His friend, who owns the art gallery, caught a glimpse of me slyly scarfing down chunks of free cake at the counter of the bread shop. How I betray myself, my need. Everyone knows what's going on but me. This morning, lying in my cold bed, I heard a cat outside my window, yowling her desire in the snow. We pay a price.
Somehow, you would rather look a lively slut than a dead middle-aged woman. This is a fear. I remember, light years ago, the terrific red-cheeked tart who showed up on the professor's arms for cocktails. it was his wife. We were all amazed. She was Carmen. Carmine, dyed, wide-eyed. Her dress, a brazen black number. A rose in her hair. So excessive in the late 60s, so blatantly sluttish. We choked on her cheese whiz, dribbled bourbon down obscenely. Now I look in the mirror at my own face and note the excessive carmine on my cheeks, the blue lids, the pomegranate mouth, and I hear myself declare, well, at least the tart's alive. The weathered house deserves a coat of paint. I'm still in action. The motor hums. It would be best, perhaps, to be nature's testimonial to dewy youth, with skin so fresh it cries out, peach. It's not a choice. I understand her now, the outrageous wife at the faculty party. Assertive, sexual, overripe, and I salute her in the mirror. My sister slut, the lady of the rose.
Or responses, but Barbara Kite, who also did a great job putting this together and working with the actresses, she thought, well, I'm here in Portland, and so if you have any comments you'd like to make or questions you'd like to ask, I am the author of these poems, I have to admit that, so please, all right, over
When you sit
there.
down to write, do you have an idea already, or do you wait to see what's going to bubble up?
It really varies. Sometimes I have like an issue, or sometimes almost the first line is going through my head in some way, and then the poem follows it. But it's like if it's an image or a problem or a line, it almost is like a piece of sand under the skin or something. You know, you want to get at it. So it's not usually that I have a whole poem in mind, and I certainly don't know usually where it's going to end up. And that's a kind of a nice surprise in the course of writing it.
Could you repeat questions when they're
Oh,
asked?
I'm sorry, yes. The answer, that answer was to the question, do I know what I'm doing when I sit down to write a poem?
Thank
Sorry.
you, Ms. Sullivan.
Yes, thank you, Miss Kite. Yes.
Another process question. Playwriting, poetry. How is that, how do you approach those differently?
Okay.
Or do
the
you?
gentleman has asked, how do I approach playwriting and poetry differently? I think I approach them very differently, but I think they have things in common, and that's the speaking voice. Because everything that goes on stage, I mean, there's actions, but it's mostly language on stage. It's language and action. It's not like in a film, you know, you can have cars chasing each other. So in the same way that all my characters on stage are speaking, and I may have a male character, a female character, etc., it's a voice inside a body responding to the world. And a poem is like that too. I mean, I didn't think about that when I started writing the two forms. But after I've been writing the two forms a number of years, it occurred to me, well, it makes sense in a way to be a poet and a playwright and not to be a fiction writer. Because somehow I don't ever want to write that stuff like when they drove through a field and the sun was out. And, you know, I never want to write all that stuff that you have to do in fiction, which is to get your characters from place to place. I like it when someone just walks on and says, "You slut!" You know, and then the play is, okay, it's moving. And in the same way with a poem, I mean, I love John Donne, you know, "For God's sakes, hold your tongue and let me love," you know, or "Chide my palsy or my gout." I mean, what a great voice, you know, or Andrew Marvell or Yeats. So I think that that sense of like a voice in a body is very true to both poets and theater people. Thank you. Yes?
Could a man have written these poems?
Probably not these poems, but you know, I have a collection over there. Now I'm going to, you know, called "The Divided Bed." And what we did there was a man who was a friend of mine, not my lover, not my spouse, nothing like that, but actually a pal and a colleague. He had all these poems from a man's point of view, and I had poems from a woman's point of view, and we sat down and said, well, let's, you know, why don't you put down your jealous poem? Well, give me your jealous poem. Well, give me your early love poem. Well, and so we put together this book called The Divided Bed with male and female. I've been fascinated with the whole question of like how different are men and women pretty much all my life, I think. Certainly from like second grade. But I think, you know, if you didn't know that these were poems by a woman, but the question would be, maybe there are poems that are sexless. I mean, maybe there are poems, I'd say spiritual poems, but I don't even think that is, because when you get into spiritual poems, there's often a kind of eroticism of the deity. So, you know, is it eroticized from a male point of view? I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I think it's true. You know, because we do make God in our image, or in someone's image. Boy, I got off that one. But no, I don't think male have written my poems, but thank you. Yes?
I just want to very much appreciated the directness and the honesty. It was very moving to me, both your writing and the acting of it.
The acting was wonderful, and it's been a little strange for me because I flew out here on Saturday and I'd seen what poems they picked, but I hadn't heard them do it. And when I heard them do it, of course, I heard the poems again, you know, in a new way. And I thought, oh, there's about 47 baths in those poems. You know, that was the most erotic relationship in the world. You know, it had to end. We were like puckering or something, I guess. You know? So it's a little strange to be in the audience for this, but it is. You know, I also, in terms of the eroticism of the middle section, which I must admit even I am like somewhat aghast by, there was a sense that I was doing that on purpose when I did it, and I hadn't really done that before, but it was like, well, they started coming out like that, and after I'd written a couple, I thought, well, either I have to step back, or I have to kind of recognize what I'm doing and keep going, and I made a kind of a conscious choice. I'm going to go into that realm. What you don't get here, and I think they made a wise choice theatrically, is that when my husband was dying, I wrote many poems about that too. So I mean, from the standpoint of myself as a writer, I have a huge body of those poems as well as these poems, but from the standpoint of putting something on stage, you don't really want to go through all the stages of someone dying of cancer, probably. So, but I was thinking about that because I'm lying in bed and I'm thinking, what am I obsessed with? And I guess I was. You know, for a year I was obsessed with one thing, and then a different year, a few years later, I was obsessed with something else. But thank you. Who else has a, yes?
I appreciated the fact that you really went through the stages of grief in that first poem. Mm-hmm. I really, really caught that. That was very nice.
Well, thank you. I go through everything very intensely. Oh, sorry. She said that she appreciated the going through the stages of grief in the opening poem, and I went through grief in a big way, which I think most people probably do, whether they show it or not. I stamped around and, you know, I was seriously grieving for quite a while, but there was also a lot of, the poem that she did a poem about, Oh, for the Mercy of Mercy, and there was, after my husband died, I really also felt, you know, enormous tenderness towards this person who had died, and so there was a lot there to write poems about. And one of the nice things about seeing these poems up here is there's others that come back to me and think, oh, I'd like to get those poems out too, because there were a lot of poems about the whole thing of losing someone, and it's as powerful as anything else that one goes through, certainly. Anything else? You're a great audience. We have more on the menu tonight. We'll take a little break.
Why don't you tell them that they can buy,
Yes,
she put together quickly a book of this evening's poetry.
This evening's poems are available in a little booklet called Victoria. And I have this old book called The Divided Bed. And then I have this one that I put out with a friend. My father actually died of Alzheimer's disease. And, well, he lived with it and then he died. I'm not sure he actually died of it. I think they just let him die of pneumonia. But we put out this book called Alzheimer Dreams. She did the prints. She did block prints, and I had poems about my father and that whole process. So Poems are available over there. You can buy yourself a Coke or a glass of water. And then afterwards, we have a lovely young singer who's going to do some songs of love, sort of cheer you up as you work the evening. Thank you.
Don't look at us, don't look at us.
It can be this like the hardest part. Either way.
That's me again. This is Richard Turnoy on the piano, doing all those wonderful things that you're hearing. And Danielle Ross, who's going to be singing, is backstage waiting to come on, and let's just have her do it. I can't wait to hear this song. Come on, Danielle.
without you. You took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? Why not take all of me?
This next song was a special request by Richard, Barbara's husband. And Barbara didn't want to put too much pressure on me, so she said, Danny, our marriage depends on this. So this one's for Richard. No pressure.
Yeah. Get it off quick.
Somewhere, someday, we'll be close together. Wait and see. Oh, by the way, this time the dream to the end of a brief episode. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. I've got the routine, so stick another nickel in the machine. I'm feeling so bad, I wish you'd make the music dreamy and sad. Could tell you a lot, but you've got to be true to your code. So make it one for my baby and one more for the road. You never know it, but buddy, I'm a kind of poet, and I've got a lot of things to say. And when I'm feeling gloomy, you simply ought to listen to me until it's talked away. So that's how it goes. And Joe, I know you're getting anxious to close. So thanks for the cheer. I hope you didn't mind my bending your ear. This torch that I found must be drowned, or it soon might explode. So make it one for my baby and one more for the road. That long, long